Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's live session. We're on day number 35, and today you are going to experience what it really means to have an ultimate breakthrough because we are ending the week. We've completed about 7 weeks here every single day, Monday to Friday at 8:30 p.m. IST. We're showing up, we're learning, we're growing together, and I'm so happy to have you on this journey along with me. And so today, I wanted to talk to you about something that we don't often associate with success, but something that is an inevitable part of the journey. And that is the setbacks, the challenges, and the tough times that we get on our way. Yes, I know we talk a lot about vision, about success, about achieving big, and we talk about these challenges and tough times in hindsight. I don't want to do that today. Instead, I want to talk about what it is like to go through those tough times and challenges when you're going through them, not when you're already successful and reflecting back on them. These are two very different things. Because as I've studied successful people, as I've studied what has made them grow and succeed and just become extraordinary in their lives, you know what's the pattern that has shown up the most? It's not that they didn't encounter tough situations. It's not that they didn't encounter challenges. They didn't encounter obstacles or barriers. They did. They did more than us, in fact. But the way they approached them, the way they dealt with them, the kind of mindset they had while they were going through those tough times, well, that is what made them extraordinary. That is what gave them the strength to be their best selves and to create transformational, magical results, whether as leaders of organizations or leaders of their family or anything else that they did in their lives. Doesn't matter which area it was, it called on them to be a leader. It called on them to pave the way, and it called on them to not face the obstacle only, but to make the obstacle the way to success. You see, when we come to tough times, we think, how can I avoid it? How can I have it easy? How can I make sure that this doesn't hurt me as much? But what if I told you the best way to deal with a tough time, the best way to deal with a hard time, the best way to deal with a challenge is not to run away from it, but to go right through it? Yes, that's right. To go right through a challenge is the best way to deal with it. And if this is confusing you a bit, don't worry. I'll explain this to you. I'll help you understand exactly what I mean by it. You see, there's two different things that really affect us and that make tough times tough. The first thing is the adversity and the challenge of the situation itself. Now, this is ground reality. This is the problem that you're dealing with. If, let's say, you're going through a financial crunch in your life, it's a reality. It's nothing that you can ignore and think positive about and just let it go. That's not how it works. It's a reality you have to look at, you have to focus at, and like a responsible adult, you have to deal with that. And so that means that aspect of reality is as it is. If there's challenges in your relationships, denying those challenges is not going to solve them. Accepting the challenges, understanding what the challenges are, and looking at them and working right through them is what will solve the problems. Same goes for your career, your profession, and anything and everything that you do. So, the first side of a tough time is the adversity of the situation itself, and that's the reality. Now, this side is actually not the problem. We think it is, but it is not. The second side is the actual problem. And the second side is how we perceive the adversity of the situation, how we feel about the adversity of the situation, and above all, how we assume what the situation says about who we are as people. Let me break this down for you step by step, starting from the last one. You see, the reason setbacks and tough times and challenges are difficult for people is because they believe if I face a challenge and if I'm going through a tough time, that means I am doing something wrong as a person. That means I am not good enough. That means I must be doing something wrong. And that judgment, that guilt, that fear that they carry about the situation is what makes them dread the tough time, not the tough time itself. Because if you've been on social media recently, you've heard this going around. And there's this beautiful perspective someone shared. I don't know who started it, but there's a lot of people who've reshared it. I'm passing it on to you. And that is, you optimize for failure in the gym because you know it is optimal for growth. So why not everywhere else? You see, in the gym, when you're working out or when you're exercising or when you're learning a new sport, even, you know for a fact that failure is a part of the process. You know you're going to have a tough time. You know your body's going to protest. You know you are going to struggle, but you're okay with that. In fact, you're happy about that. When you're exhausted in the gym, you're tired. But are you ever really unhappy after you've done a workout? No, you're not. You are feeling good. You're optimizing for growth there. Why? Because you know, in the gym, in working out, in exercising, if I show up, if I act, and even if I fail, the growth is happening in the process itself. Now, the quote that I shared with you, it's more about the idea of embracing failure. I want to help you take a deeper lens here, and I want to help you understand how this analogy really shows the way we deal with challenges and how it can completely redefine your approach to success, but even more importantly, your approach to failure. You see, we optimize for failure in the gym, we are okay with it because we know it leads to growth. That's one part. But the second part is, we are okay with the failure in the gym because the failure is seen as a sign of progress and a sign of success and a sign of growth by the people around us. In the gym, when you fail, no one judges you for it. In fact, they push you harder. They say, go try more. You can do it. You can make it happen. And that public validation, that support, that push makes the tough time worth it. And you feel, at least I'm not the only one going through this. So it's okay for me to go through it as long as I have people support, as long as I have their help, as long as they are thinking good about me, even if I'm struggling, even if I'm failing. You see, there, the tough situation makes you feel good about who you are as a person. When you fail in the gym, it means you are someone who values health. You are someone who values discipline. You are someone who values growth. That's what people also see, and that's what you feel proud about. But what do people really say when you encounter a tough time in your business? Or when you encounter a tough challenge where you're going through a financial crunch? Or when your relationship has hit a rocky patch? In those moments, are people supportive? Are they helpful? Are they saying, oh, this is going to help you grow, keep going, you can do it, you can make it happen? Well, not really. What they're really doing is they're judging you, they're condescending you, they're saying things about you. They're saying, we told you so, don't try this. You had this crazy idea. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to start my business. Now see what you've done. You failed. You've lost your money. We told you stay in a job. Don't do this. If the challenge is in your relationships, and if you've made the choice of going into that relationship with another person by yourself, then everybody around you starts saying, I told you that person was not right for you. I told you from the day I met him, he was not the right guy for you. You see, you never listened to me, or else you would not have ended up with the kind of blunder you have in your life with her. We hear these statements, we hear these comments, we hear these remarks. And the reason we are afraid of that tough time and that challenge over there is because it shows who we are as a person, and that reflection is not good. We do not like that reflection. We do not like that feeling of judgment, of people hating on us, of people not liking us, and of people saying, I told you so, don't do it. That feeling is what we avoid. That feeling less about ourselves, feeling inferior, feeling that, oh my god, I made a mistake and people are judging me for it. We don't want that. So we avoid the tough times in the first place, because we are smart human beings, aren't we? We think, if there is no water, there is no plant. If there is no tough time, there is no judgment. But in that, you're compromising growth, you're compromising success, you're compromising your happiness, you're compromising your fulfillment. Most importantly, you're compromising your potential. And my only question to you is, what's worth more for you? The temporary opinions that people hold of you, or the kind of potential you can achieve and the kind of extraordinary success you can create? That's the question I want you to think about. Because the truth is, you're not afraid of action, you're not afraid of challenges, you're not afraid of adversity. You know how to handle it. There's strength in you, there's power in you, there's focus in you, there's hard work in you, there's everything needed for success in you. You have all those qualities. The reason you avoid bringing out those qualities is because you are scared. If I go all in and I fail and get to that tough time and I get to that tough challenge, I would not like the way I think about myself as an incapable, worthless, and imperfect human being. That feeling is what you are avoiding by avoiding the challenge. So let's reframe that. Let's flip it on its head. Like I gave you that gym example, right? I want you to think of it in this context as well. Even if other people don't see it, even if other people don't understand it, even if other people don't support it, my question is, even your failures in other areas are helping you optimize for growth, aren't they? They are helping you become a wiser, better person, provided you are willing to learn. And if you are willing to learn by putting your ego aside, by putting this whole need to be right aside, by feeling worthy regardless of the success you create and the success you get, the magic that happens is action taking becomes effortless for you. You no longer fear failure. You no longer fear the idea that I could go all in on something and still not get the result. You will not fear the tough times anymore. You will not dread them anymore, because you will know I have the courage and I have the strength and I have the ability to handle it. Because the tough time you can handle. What you are scared of is the negative identity and the emotions and the burdens and the guilt and the regret and the frustration about yourself that the tough time comes with. But my question is the tough time bringing it, or are you bringing it? Are you creating it by listening to what people say, by paying more attention to that fact than the fact of what your heart wants and what you want to create and what you want to persevere for? One of the best skills you can build in this world, especially in the age of social media and AI, is the skill of being your own person. And by that, I do not mean when you say be yourself and then you are just an inconsiderate human being because I'm being myself. I can be the person I want any day, every day. No, that's not what I mean. By being your own person, I mean, can you have the courage to stick to your own opinions regardless of what people say? Can you have the courage to challenge the conventional ideas? Can you have the courage to think for yourself and to plan out what it is that you want to do? And that when you encounter a challenge, it does not mean you have failed, it only means that you have grown. Can you have the courage to create that redefinition for yourself? And in fact, it's not even courageous, it's just a choice. The day you make that choice is the day you start becoming your best self. I mean, I have all the reasons in the world to not do these live sessions, to not make my videos, to not coach people, to not speak in corporations, to not go out there and be this person, this inspiration, this. Uh, i- if I had to put it in one word, right? This excited, enthusiastic, and crazy person that I am, who shows up every day to help people transform their lives. I'm 19 years old right now. At this age, a lot of us are still figuring out life. I'm not saying I've figured it out completely, but I have the courage to show up with the stuff that I have figured out, with the wisdom that I've gained in study, in experience, in coaching hundreds of people, and spending more than 6 years in this field. And that is allowing me to show up here with confidence to share all of this with you. Now, could you judge me for it? Could you be like, oh, he's so young, what does he even know? Yes, you could. Could I fail in understanding you sometimes? Maybe. Because I've built my competence to such a high level that failure doesn't really happen. But is there a possibility that it could happen? Yes. And am I okay with that? Also, yes. Because I know that my worth and my competence and my skills have been built not today as I'm showing up in front of you, but in all those hours I've spent in study, in research, in talking to people, in decoding patterns, in understanding what makes us the kind of people we are over the last 6 years. That's the process I draw my confidence from. So, public failure, it doesn't really bother me anymore. I'm okay with that. I can take action on that. I can deal with the setback, and I can see the tough time in front of me, the challenge in front of me, and say, well, bring it on. I can handle it. I can make it happen. And I truly, truly have, through every up and down I've encountered in my personal and professional life till now. My question is, can you build the courage to do the same for yourself? And it's simple. As I told you, it is just a choice, and that choice begins the moment you detach the tough situation from the way you are feeling about it. When these negative feelings, these judgments, this heaviness, this guilt, all of that goes away, right? That's the day you are able to look at the challenge and say, well, not that big of a deal. Let me handle it. Let me work through it. And then your action taking, your focus, your meaning, your purpose, your drive, your vision, your inspiration, all of it takes a turn for the better. The core is be okay with failure, be okay with the ups and downs, not because I'm saying so, but because you are saying so. And then people's judgments or comments or remarks, they'll have no power on you. You will be the person who truly shines like a star, regardless of what other people say. And that, my friend, is your biggest power. That is where you become your best self. So, tonight, as we end this discussion, as we end the week, my question for you is only one. What are all the areas where you are dimming your light just because you don't want to fail, and just because you don't want to encounter a challenge that could bring a question mark on your worth? And start shining bright there. Start going out there, start making things happen. Because I can tell you one thing, the day you do that, you will be amazed at how incredible and beautiful and love filled life becomes. It's all out there for you this weekend. Make it happen with this question. And any tough situation you're dealing with right now, just say, bring it on, because I can handle it. Have that faith in you, have that strength in you. And with that, I'll see you once again live on Monday. That is at 8:30 p.m. IST. Bye. See you soon.